Hi guys, I'm really excited to be here today, and thank you all so much for coming. When I was auditioning for this TED Talk and I heard of the prompt, finding x, my first thought was of geometry. In geometry, x is an unknown variable, found by isolating it from all other numbers in an equation. This led me to the idea that the x in our own lives might also be a variable. From the moment we are born until the moment we die, we never stop pursuing the things we want. And when I say the things we want, I am not referring to a singular dream. Aspirations come and go. It's probably safe to say that you don't want the same things you did 5 years ago. Now you want something completely new. We never stop pursuing the things we want because we never cease wanting. If you ask a lonely person what they want most in the world, the answer would be friends. If you ask someone unlucky in love what they want, the answer would be a partner. The answer to what someone wants depends completely on what they value, based on the situation they're in. There are universal X's, such as a desire for wealth, love, happiness, and respect, but there are also ones specific to individuals. The new show on Netflix, for example. No matter how small something is, if it is wanted, then it is important to someone. As I said before, there are many X's of similar essences in the lives of very different people. But because of how no two lives are exactly the same, the specific natures of these X's are always unique in some way. Finding X is finding what you desire in life. And the feel of want in our lives is constant. No matter how small an X is, it is always important to someone because of that constantness. Trivial or not, these X's always dictate our everyday lives as we constantly feel pressure to reach the goals we set for ourselves. Many people are unable to reach their X's as they are deterred by lack of money, time, or courage. However, the undying want for the X will never fade, despite a hindering circumstance. Another take on finding X is that it isn't about determining what X is, but how to achieve it. Everyone has heard the saying, X marks the spot. It refers to a treasure hunt, how the object of the search is buried under the X. Finding this particular X takes you on a journey, but you maneuver the obstacles thrown at you because of the desire to get to the X, to achieve the goal of the treasure hunt. This particular theory on X revolves around the mindset that one should not work unless they are working towards a reward. And that makes sense. I mean, would you try as hard at school if there was no chance of you going to college? Would you work for 6 hours with the knowledge that you would not be paid? Finding X, what you want, is often the reward at the end of a long struggle. But many valuable lessons are taught throughout that struggle, even if the journey was difficult. You can eventually get to what you want, but anything worth wanting comes at a cost, whether it's money, time, or personal relationships. However, what you learn during that struggle strengthens you. It toughens you and shapes you to any future struggles. People want different X's because of their different points of view. These points of view can be reflected through the ethics of someone, making them more evident to an onlooker. To someone, picking up an unclaimed dollar off the street may seem perfectly ethical, while someone else would rather let that dollar blow away than claim what's not rightfully theirs. The actions that a person would take in this situation allow observers to understand the qualities that they hold in high esteem. The first person might value resourcefulness, while the second might value honesty. These characteristics then help people understand what point of view someone has, and then what their X might be. However, it can be argued that due to a lack of exposure to new ideas, the points of view of certain individuals might be limited. And if the points of view of certain individuals are limited, do they have a clear understanding of what their X is? To expand on a point of view means you need to do things like read new books and eat new foods and meet new people. This expansion of knowledge allows the realization of the different points of view that we are constantly surrounded by, and these new ideas can set someone on a path of self-discovery during which they have the chance to reevaluate what they want. I believe that your true X can only be confidently determined once you are exposed to all possibilities in life. Before I started high school, I was very involved in art. I participated in lessons outside of school. I took 2 semesters of it in middle school and won various awards for my art throughout elementary school. It was my perpetual go-to, something that I thought I'd always be able to turn to. But last year, I went an entire year without drawing anything. Maybe a doodle here or there, but nothing like the paintings I had had the time to produce before. Last summer, I realized how much I'd missed it. I'd been so focused on friends and grades during freshman year that I forgot how much I loved art. This leads me to the idea that when you are too focused on achieving a particular goal, it's easy to get swept up in the idea that you want it, instead of taking a step back and questioning whether it's worth it in the first place. I needed to de-stress, to let myself relax instead of pushing forwards, but I ignored how much I needed to slow down and just take a minute because I wanted good grades. Sometimes finding X isn't the right thing to do for yourself at the moment. If we are to consider that X is what we want, then it's fairly safe to say that what we want isn't always what we need. As I said before, we are constantly spurred on by the undying want to accomplish the goals we set for ourselves. But think of something you want, anything. Whether you realize it or not, you are always trying to get where you want to go, to do what you want to do, and to be who you want to be. But what happens when you finally reach your ambitions? When there's no more room left to grow because you've already filled it? What happens when you finally accomplish a goal and are subsequently left in a place where you are not used to striving for fulfillment in all parts of life because you've only been focused on improving one? I understand that this is a little confusing, but try to picture an Olympic athlete. After years and years of training, he finally accomplishes his goal. He wins a gold medal. The next year, he wins another gold, and then again the next, until finally he's forced to retire. Now what? He thinks. You see, while he was putting in all that training, he sacrificed having a family and a stable home. He lost his friends and ignored his studies, all because he was focused on achieving that gold. But now that this athlete is no longer able to dedicate himself to only one area of life, when the other areas of life are no longer able to be ignored by him, he is left unfulfilled. Since my time is growing short, I'd like to leave you with one last idea. If you take away all the areas of life that you're satisfied in, you're left with the areas of life that you're not satisfied in. This is just like the rule for finding X in math. Isolate the variable by canceling out the constants. So eliminating what you have by default will leave you with what you don't have. But don't take this idea and look on in horror at all the areas of life that you apparently feel unfulfilled in. I myself don't have a single part of life that I'm completely happy with. But sometimes a little bit of happiness in all parts of life is better than total contentment in only one. Find your X's, pursue what you want, but stop to remember what you need. Thank you.